wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm.
All right, namaste and catch my family, and welcome to another Team Light Interviews. And I am here with my beloved sister, Miss LIGHTSTAR. LIGHTSTAR, what's going on?
Hello, everyone. And Rion, thank you so much for having me on here.
I'm excited. We're doing all these interviews, and it's just like, as we're putting this thing together, I'm like, this is like the Marvel team up of, I don't know, not only just 2025, but I think this is the golden age team up. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
I'm excited.
People, a lot of, if you guys are new, you don't know LIGHTSTAR. She's been with Team Light since the very beginning. She's a rock star. Her higher selves are complete rock stars. And, she's been working behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. Her artwork, her love, her compassion for the collective is just profound. So if you guys don't know my sister LIGHTSTAR, that is LIGHTSTAR right there. So I want,
the very beginning. The very beginning.
Yeah, the very beginning.
Started. So yeah, there's so much that's changed. It's crazy. It has been such a journey.
There's, the cool thing is, like, the core group of us, we always knew, especially when we got to Sedona out, and when we moved. I think you were here before me.
Yeah,
I moved out here in 2010, right after I woke up, and 15 years. And the whole thing is, like, there was a community here, but I really felt when all of us were together. And when we started, I think it was called Team Light Live, the very first ones we did.
Oh gosh, yeah,
we would just stream, like, all of us would just rotate it. It was like, it was before all of these platforms. I mean, YouTube was working, but
it was in really the very early stages of, I think, us just getting together, getting to experience our galactic energies together and share our information and learn and grow. And it was such a great experience for all of us to have that. It sort of set the foundation. It's almost like us building a house. We were like setting the foundation for that house, literally.
Yes.
And it just grew from there. So it's been definitely a long time.
It's definitely grown. You know what I mean? This whole movement and all this, all these beings waking up. Not only the star seeds, the 144, the angelics, you have been in this game for quite some time representing the light. And I do feel like a lot of us who have been in this game for quite some time, we do see people come and go, but we want everyone to remember that, the unity that we find within each other, and we are far more similar than we are different. No matter what country you are on this planet, what language you speak, your heart is that true vibration to our creator, to the universe. And, that high vibe energy also, attracts other high vibe beings. And I think that's kind of when we came together, it was like, we were all like, this is the mission. This is what we're doing. We got this. Let's get it done. So,
We were
With
like
that being,
family. Yeah, it was like a
yeah,
serious family that came together, but for like a very specific purpose. And
mhm,
although everyone does different things, different, it's like everyone, it's like a Marvel characters, you know,
that's what
like
I'm saying.
literally everyone has a certain get to know what your particular mission is, but your gifts and your talents, which may be different than the next person, but then it's utilized as a synergy. And that's what we, I think, really got to know ourselves, to express ourselves, to learn and grow and know what we're good at, maybe
Mhm,
not what maybe what we're not so great at and need to get better at and need to
right.
improve in. And that, you know, I was here one of the early ones, I think, in that time frame. But it was just before you. So it was like,
Mhm,
you know, around the same time basically. But it was a because 2009 was a very activating year for most of us
mhm,
that were coming online. And I
yes,
know I was one of those people who was, you know, coming out of the corporate scene and
yeah,
then into this whole spiritual world, you know, and then just really like, okay, you know, sleepy time is over. Now it's
mhm,
time for like, okay, go. And it was very rapid. So it's not like it was wasn't so much a slow transition. It was just like boom and go. You know, you don't have time. You're just like,
right.
we're done with the time and the waiting. We were just like on it.
You
So
know what? That's a great topic. I think with we woke up like, you're like '09. Same thing with me. My third eye
uh,
came on. Maybe walk people through in like kind of a bullet point way
yeah.
what you're going to experience. Like you were in Orange County, right?
Yeah, I did. I spent a lot of time in or Southern California, basically all there, and Northern California, but
Hmm.
and Colorado. That was the two areas. But yeah, it was definitely a I feel like I was kind of awakened to a certain experience of spirituality, what you want to call that, spirituality. Even as a young child, I would say, I wasn't totally sleeping, but there was a time when I went into the corporate world where definitely I was like in corporate construction, restoration, environmental companies, nothing to do with any of this. Okay. So it was all of that. But when the time came, and I know for myself, it was about a year literally that I was being told or guided. My higher self was starting to drop in and say, okay, kind of done with this. You need to move on. And I kind of pushed it away for a while, which a lot of us do. We don't want to do that. We don't want to leave. And it was comfortable. So when that happens, you step out of the comfort zone that you've been in and you're kind of pushed out, which is what happened to me because it was in the time of the market crash around 2009. So I lost my job that I'd been holding on to in Colorado for a long time. And then it was just like, boom, you're just like, I mean, for me, it was sort of hurled into that. So I think what people go through when they transition into that is almost like, well, first there's a little bit of disbelief that this is actually happening. You're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? You know, and most of us have that little inkling that's already there or already had been there. You just maybe weren't listening to it or you had the volume turned all the way down so that when you turn the volume up, you start hearing it again. So it was always there. It might have been something that told you, you know, maybe you need to go into this area, or maybe you need to leave that job, or maybe you need to move to a different area. And so a lot of us don't follow those things. But when you start to follow them and listen to them and you start awakening to things around you, a lot of things start falling away that you used to be very attached to. And even things like your family, right? Things shift with your family members, things shift with your friends or people that you're around. And you have to go through this period almost of loss or grief in a way that it's not a bad thing. It just feels a little bit like you're going through that dark night of the soul, which I have now completely rephrased that to call it the Kundalini quest of the soul instead. Because now, as I've aged on this planet, like and gone through several of those different markings, now I feel that they are much more um, giving to us as far as the opportunities for growth and for change. And so it's not this old dark thing. It's almost like a experience of transformation.
Yes.
So I feel those are the things that we have to traverse through in order to step into your true power, your true gifts, and to your true mission is to be actually have that courageousness to step out into the unknown, not knowing. I mean, you don't always know what's going to happen. Most of the time, you don't. So you're just sort of fumbling through it. But as you go through that fumbling through stage, you
Hmm.
start to unravel, you start to listen, you start to hear, you have guides that come in, we have our higher selves that start to bleed through and start to come in, and you it's somewhat feels like you're, mixing it all up into a soup, that's all happening at one
Yes.
time. And then you're like, wow, but then when you drink the soup, you're like, oh wow, okay, this all makes sense, and pieces start falling into place, and you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together into this mosaic. And that's what
Yes.
I feel a lot of us have been doing over these last 15, I was like decade and a half, for us that seems like a century ago. But
No, it's like, and time's accelerated so much that even, I know time's accelerated in Sedona. I feel like every day here sometimes is like, goodness gracious, a week outside of this place. I can't
oh,
explain it.
the time has been something that I feel is like this timeline thing. The
Mhm.
timelines are shifting and everything, yes, but the time itself, I mean, I cannot remember a time where it felt like the time was going so fast. Like I sometimes wake up and go, slow the hell down, I'm just like,
Right.
I need to catch up to this, or it's like the day went and I feel like, wow, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done, I didn't get that done, but I feel like it's just sped up so fast that, we're having accelerated expansion at the same time. See, it's not just
Yes.
like the time's accelerating, so it feels like you lost time, but we're also accelerating our spiritual growth, our energies and our ascending and changing and transforming, and we're doing this at such a rapid pace. That's why a lot of people talk about the ascension symptoms. Okay, and we'll go through that. Like everyone has different symptoms that happen to them, so it's acceleration at the same time as you're releasing and letting go and shedding the old skin, which we are literally stepping into the shedding of the old skin for 2025. Okay? That's a huge thing. We're entering, or we have entered, or actually we will enter in February because it's the Chinese New Year, which is the year of the snake. We just came out of the year of the dragon, for those of you dragoners out there who love the dragon energies, we
Yes.
just came out of that. A dragon, he's like, "Huh? Dragon?" Yes,
No.
I've been actually, and yes, I created a dragon image for this year too, because I felt like the dragon energy was really fiery and really up this year or last year. Well, now we're guess what? We're going into some other intensity of the year of the snake, which is shedding the old skin, shedding the old you, shedding the outdated you, the one that is no longer serving you for your highest and best good, or that you've done a certain period of, your mission, and then now it feels like it might be shifting. That's what I feel is going on a lot this year, and it will be happening, is for a lot of us to reevaluate. And I feel like there's a big giant reevaluation period for everyone in different areas of their life. So some people will be experiencing the shift or a transformation into the very first layer of doing your mission and your purpose and getting on your mission. Just like some of us that have done 15 years ago or longer, now it's your turn to step into that. But then there are some of us that are in these roles or have been in their roles, and our roles are going to be shifting. And I feel we're going to be maybe not getting all the answers to that this year, but we are going to be going through the process of expansion and a process of taking the microscope and looking at our lives a little more carefully and saying, where do we want to go now? What do we want to do now? What do we want to shift into? Or what are we being called to shift into? It's not always just what you want to do. A lot of it is
Absolutely.
what are the higher ups also asking you to do.
Yeah, the main thing too is when people wake up and they kind of start to have their throat chakra turn on, so you can hear your higher selves. Maybe your third eye turns on. You're starting to see auras maybe in the beginning, then eventually more energy, more depth of calibration as your pineal gland decalcifies and it becomes stronger. That light inside you becomes stronger. There's a lot of things that'll be asked of you, but the main thing that everyone needs to understand is that your calmness, your ability to stay balanced, your ability to know things even before they happen, let's just say, or to
Yeah.
be aware of things that a lot of people aren't. It takes
Right.
a higher RPM and intelligence level to now have be absorbing all this information and still trying to keep it in a straight line.
Yeah.
It's not less. It's more intelligence, more energy, more consciousness. It's not less. So I
Yeah,
think,
and you
yeah,
can't be going at the speed of light in a way to really to integrate, okay? So it does, and what Rion just said is super important about the fact that we do have to have the calm, cool, and collected self, here centered and balanced. Otherwise, you're just gonna be thrown off, here and there, and like everywhere. And I know that that's something I have within me. I don't know if somebody, you guys wouldn't know this, but in my high school days, I was actually voted as most calm, cool, and collected in my class. So I have some of that within me just in terms of who I am. So I help people with that just because of the nature of I tend to have a little bit more, some of it's observing, but not like totally freaking out like everybody does. I have a little bit more of that, somewhat of a Spock, mentality where it's just like you don't just let your emotions go crazy all over the place. You kind of keep it into your higher heart.
yes.
And so I have that a little bit in me, but I feel like everybody needs to have some of that this year, especially starting into all the changes and the transformations that are happening, is to do more of the things that will actually center and balance you in spite of everything that's going on around you. You have to be like in that eye of the storm and be able to just be calm in it because you don't think clearly when you're in chaos and stress and nobody does. Okay.
Nobody does, and I don't even think human beings per se were ever, or any life form was designed to be creative and in a state of bliss when you're in a state of fear.
Yeah.
I know even our
Yeah.
DNA. I imagine like a lotus flower when our DNA is growing and our telomeres are stretching. But as soon
Yep.
as you go into fear or survival mode, whoop, it
Everything
closes
goes
up
down.
just like a flower. So, and I think that these big changes that are going on, a lot of the things
Mhm.
that we are now seeing that is taking place with some of these agreements behind the scenes that are not in humanity's best interest, and a
Right.
lot of these different groups that have been behind the wheels in a very self-serving way. There's a lot of things going on right now as this video is being filmed. But I also want to hold on to the truth, and the light is that every single one of you is strong enough to ride this storm out. I'm here to tell
Yeah.
you that that suit that you're wearing right now is a survivor. The suits that we are wearing right now, we are the fathers and mothers, let's just say, the men and women that walked off those battlefields, those men and women that survived the Ice Age, those men and women that are very just, your suit is a lot stronger. And that's the thing, too. It's like a belief system.
Mhm.
If people really knew how strong, like how strong they really are. Like we've heard
Mhm.
stories of like, adrenaline fires and the woman, the mom picks the car up off the kid just out of nowhere, just picks the.
Exactly.
So what I'm trying to say is that what's stopping us from actually stepping into the strength that we possess?
Yeah.
What are these
Without
limiting? Yeah,
without wiping ourselves out with
out.
that adrenaline rush, because
Yes,
part of it is we have been, and this is part of what just the external world is, and some of the powers that shouldn't be are doing, and hoping is that we burn out because
yes.
we literally we've been on an adrenaline rush for the last 5 years for sure, just with what's going on in the world. Well, we have
Mhm.
to realize that that does wear out your body. So you do need to do things that will replenish your adrenals glands, especially for women here, because we don't even our adrenal glands are not supposed to be doing that. Like we're not supposed to be firing like this, like constantly every day And males have a little bit, the men have a little bit more of that, even though they get burned out too. But it's like we have to learn how to. I mean, I've burned out my adrenal glands a couple times, so I know like it's really not helpful to have the adrenaline going constant 24/7. You got to have the downtime. Whether it's for you, going in swimming in the ocean or out in nature or getting away for unplugging the phones. Okay. Unplug the phones, just get away from it for a while. We have electromagnetic craziness that's around us. We've got, people craziness that's around us and energies that we just need to just unplug from. So that is super important because although we want that, we are that strong, we are those strong people, we can withstand a lot, but you also have to realize you've got to rest too, because the rest and the replenishment time is the time you repair. You repair your DNA, you repair your cells, So and now more than ever on this planet do I feel, I come from a naturopathic background. So now I do feel like it's even more so we have to do the extra replenishment of our bodies or physical forms in any way that we can, the nourishment for whatever that is for you, whether, it is herbs or homeopathic remedies or supplements that help you and help your body. And that's not the same for everyone because everyone's body's different. But these are the hugely basic, very basic, but very important things to do for your physicality that will also strengthen you. So, all the adrenal strengthening things as well, whether it be ashwagandha or holy basil or all those herbs for whichever one that works. Shizandra is a really good one for women as well. But there's
Mhm.
so many that we need to not forget. Okay. Because that'll help us to it's like the superheroes are out there doing missions. I don't think they go 24/7 for a while, but even they have to rest.
You have to rest. There's no way around it with the rest and relaxation. Here's what happens, and this is how I know this. So I was running, 24/7, 365 just recently since I got back from that. What was it? Not consciousness at sea, but contact at sea
Oh
in
yeah.
Alaska last summer. And I went nonstop until I hit Maui. It was like 2.5, 3 months straight of just every single day working, burning the candle on both ends. We're doing missions at night and dream time. You're waking up and doing things to help the collective. And when I got there, and I actually got to in Maui, mind you, I got right. My buddy took me right into like a nature preserve, and I like jumped in a waterfall, and it was such a shock. And all of a sudden, it was like my mind turned off, and it was almost like I could now hear the birds again. It was like it's almost like I got like immersed in nature. This whole static Wi-Fi, radio,
Yeah.
brain, mechanical thing. We love our brains, but we got to pump the brakes and realize that it's not the only thing in your body. You have a nervous system. You have
Oh
organs. You
yeah.
know what I mean? It's not. People think that this is all there is what I can think about, and that's not the truth. And when I finally, got back to the house and I was sitting there, I was sitting so up, like up straight, and all of a sudden I started to relax, and it almost felt like my back had been hit with like 15 softballs worth of like I got hit in the back of softballs at 70 miles an hour, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden I could start to feel my
Feel it.
shoulder blades again, and I was like, "Whoa!" I'm like, I'm back in the suit. A
Yeah.
lot of us empaths and a lot of beings
Mhm.
out there, you'd be surprised how many of us are actually operating these suits. We're not even actually in the suit. It's
Yeah.
almost like you're hanging halfway out the suit. I got my toes dangling in this thing, like, oh yeah, I'm here. And our energy bodies are going ham on
Everywhere
all this
else.
stuff. And I finally got into my suit and I was like, almost like, where have I been?
Yeah.
I was like, where have I been the last 3 months? Like, what is this? And we don't realize it, especially
You
in
don't
these,
realize it.
you
It's
don't
so
realize it.
God, that is like so huge. And I can give you example from the time that I remember this when I was in college. Okay, back in college, and I would be going. a mile, when you're in the quarter system on college and you're just constantly like, pushing it, trying to your classes and you're doing everything, and then you're partying and you're doing all these things and you're just like wiping yourself out, right? Going. And then I remember a time when like a break would come around, spring break or whatever. You'd finally get like a break from your classes. And because your body was just like going like 5 million miles a minute, once you stopped and you relaxed and got out of there or out of that energy and then you got to relax, I know that a couple times in that time frame is when I got sick, because it's like your body was like, I can't get sick, I can't get sick, all this stuff, like, because you got to do your studies and your school and all these things. But then once you let your body relax, it was just your body just kind of purging and cleansing, clearing itself from all that stress and that sort of bundle of everything. So sometimes
Yes.
that does happen when you just finally relax, is when your body will kind of take on something, but it's really generally because it was just trying to fight it off and it just couldn't do it anymore.
Listen,
So
you got to be nice to your body. You got to love your body. And I said in one of my past videos, and I was on the airplane, I'm like, spacecraft on the left, let's get it. I was like, what's going on over here? And this, one of the reasons I went into Lahaina was to assist all of those souls that had passed with our team to help grid the area and whatnot in the location. So it was something that we did to, for humanity and for the consciousness. But I remember very simple thing. I was like looking at my hand and they were like, you need to show your body more love. And I was like, look at your hand. They're like, that's your hand. And I'm like, yeah, that's my hand. I'm like, okay, calm down. They're like, no, be nicer to yourself. Whenever you're constantly talking negatively about yourself, your body doesn't know any better. And it kind of reminds me, like, what a body kind of, like the consciousness of it, it's almost like you know almost like a I don't want to call it, like say a Labrador, a golden lab. Your body's like, did we do good today? And you're like, good boy. I'm like, good boy, you're doing so. Did we push enough weight today? Like, good boy. But when you're negative on yourself, you're like, oh, this my hip or this ankle or this thing's never gonna heal. If you're, it's like being mean to your lab. It's like spanking it. It's a really strange thing. But that's the truth. It's like, son, remember, this is your body, this is your suit. Look at the back of your hand. I go, love yourself. So we're
Mhm.
reminding you, ladies and gentlemen out there across the world, I know there's chaos going on. I know it's craziness. But here's the thing. If you burn those adrenal glands nonstop, you're going to burn out.
Yep.
If you burn your adrenal glands into a place, or stress level, anxiety level, your cortisol levels go through the roof, it's going to make it worse. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It doesn't get better. Like, oh, I burned my cortisol levels and I'm keeping me drinking all this stuff or numbing myself. You
Mhm.
could be numbing yourself. Here's the thing. It's not in the long run going to make anything better. If not, you may be doing damage to this suit that may take years to repair. And
Yeah.
your body will tell you, just like I said, like LIGHTSTAR was saying in college, yeah, people get burned out all the time and they literally just collapse. There's
Yeah.
people, taking Adderall, doing lines of Adderall, studying for, and that's not, they're like, I've been up for 4 days getting ready for finals. And your body's like, I'm dying. Like,
Yeah, and you can only
what
take
is
so
this? Yeah.
much. You can only take so much for when,
Yes.
and you want your body to be around, you wanna be kind to it. Obviously, it does, take
Listen,
a toll on it when you get older. Like, that's when stuff just really starts
when you're
cascading.
younger, listen, I was like, I ain't getting old. I'm checking out. I was in my 20s. I was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
You're like 19, 20. You're like, whatever. It was cool down there, whatever. And then like all of a sudden you're in your late 20s and you're in your 30s and you're like, I feel like that movie, ow, bom, 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 bom. Have you seen those memes where it's like when you're over
yeah,
40,
yeah.
it's like the song, you're like, dun, dun, ow,
Ow.
bom, bom, but all these pains start popping up, right? But
Yeah,
letting go of the stress is really important. And part of this
yeah,
conversation was to kind of really let everyone know out there on Earth that the sacred divinity and the sacred feminine is very important right now, because I can tell you right now, in this male culture, or this male mind driven culture at times, I wouldn't even say male. I would just be more like in this divine nature. people need a little more self-care, people need a little more self-love, people need a little more grounding. And it's really nice, Lightstar,
Yeah.
as one of my sisters, to let everyone know, like, these are some of the people I rely upon when I ask questions. I'm getting information coming through the pipeline, and I'll run it through Lightstar. I'm like, what did you get? So like I said, it's nice to be on a team with very gifted, upper dimensional beings, because when we all get together in this team huddle, it's almost like nothing gets by. They may be able to
Right.
fool you or mess
But
with your
not
dream. You know what I
not
mean?
everybody
Not
else.
12 of us
Yeah.
sitting in a circle, bro. Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're like, oh, informant, red
Yeah.
sparrow, watch your six. That's not
I mean,
real.
and there are
You
so
know,
many times where we get that, our dream time, obviously, we get that stuff in dream time. And I know my background just popped off, but now you get to see some of my art in the background. So, but yeah, it definitely like, when you have a group of people and you're in dream time, and sometimes these people will come, especially people that you're close with. I know I have this with people that I'm close with, or I know, or, people that are in my field that will come in and will get do missions together, or I'll get information about that person. And I generally tend to get a lot of information in my dreams about people. Now I've gotten a lot of them. I've shared a lot of it with Rion because I've gotten some stuff. He's my brother, so I get some stuff occasionally for him that comes in, and I know that for other people as well. So I do feel like we have to see ourselves as more or expanded than just this little microcosm of just me. It's just me. No, we're connected in ways that we don't even know. Sometimes we're connected. That's how connected we are. It's
absolutely.
really like goes beyond what your conscious mind can really even fathom of how that connection really happens, and what levels and what dimensions, and how
Right.
we're connected over here, and how you're connected over there. And maybe you don't communicate that much on this 3D plane, but you're like up there all the time, like having
Mhm.
meetings and different things with different people. And we're all on different levels with that. And I think that is for a purpose, because we have soul groups that come in together for missions. We have soul
Mhm.
family that come in, and we're actually working on the same things at different times, but we're working, maybe we're obviously having bringing a different piece of it to the puzzle. We're different, we bring that piece.
A lot of the things that we experience in our dream time and working with our family members here on Earth is paramount right now because, we live all across this beautiful planet, right? Gaia. And, in our dream time is where a lot of our energies meet up. And we do have missions and we do have things in other dimensions that really do help, not only give us some sort of direction. But our energy when you're sleeping, everyone should know this, but when you're sleeping, your energy doesn't stop, doesn't rest. You know what I mean? Maybe the suit rests, our bodies get a chance to rest, but really, that energy, your soul is eternal.
Yeah.
We're always plugging into different realities, always, doing the best with what we got. So there's a lot of things and a lot of dreams are prophetic as well. I know you get a lot of prophetic dreams. You see a lot of things coming before they
Yeah.
happen, you know?
Yeah, I have a lot of dreams with, again, a lot of it is people that I know, people that are in my field. But sometimes I have them, people that I don't even know, or situations I have no idea who they are, but I know like what's the situation or what's happening in it. And a lot of times I call these karmic clearing dreams, where we have dreams with people that we don't necessarily know, but we sometimes are clearing karma with them in the dream time. And so that actually happens. It's really powerful. So, I mean, there's like so many different types of dreams, but I do get a lot of information. And like I said, I've shared some information with you, Rion, about certain dreams that have come through for you as well. And I think that
Mhm.
as we move into the realm of us, like that, the dream time versus our waking state kind of like tends to blur and kind of go
Right,
together. And it does this because we are more than who we think we are.
right.
And I was also thinking about this the other day too, where we have our dreams like are really powerful. And so it's like your soul is ever present, and it doesn't necessarily need to rest in a way, but I feel that the resting state of the soul is the dream experience. Like when we turn and shut off our bodies and we shut off our bodies to rest at night, although we don't feel like we get a lot of rest, but when we shut that off, our soul then gets an experience that its normal experience is to be in that active state of, in your astral traveling and you're doing things in your dream and all these different things are happening. That's the soul's natural state. And so it's kind of interesting that it's almost like passing the baton. What happens a lot of times is we give the dream state permission to go and we give our body rest time. Then during the day, a lot of times we're squelching our soul, right? We're suppressing it because we think we need to be in control. When what if we just allowed ourselves to not do that suppressing and then because that's a almost like hard on the soul, right? Because your energy has to be like, it takes a lot of energy to kind of hold yourself in, whereas your soul is just like expansive. It just wants to be out everywhere. That I feel like there's this kind of energy that we're learning to work with, that we could actually have a lot of benefit from allowing that soul to express itself during waking state as well as in the dream time, so that it can have the full expression of what it's supposed to be here. So it's kind of that interesting. I was thinking about this the other day, and I feel like it's
100%.
really powerful stuff.
So, we're doing all of these videos, and I want to introduce everyone on Team Light knows who we all miss LIGHTSTAR. But for everyone else across planet Earth, we're introducing all of our very specific and high skilled speakers here at, Rise of the Guardians conference in Sedona, taking place March 29th and 30th. What are some of the things? I know you do a lot of art creations. I know you do a lot of sound. I know you're an expert in light language, which may be, a lot of people are interested in that now, especially when your throat chakra turns on and you start to hear things, There's a lot of things going on with that.
No.
So what are some of the things you think you're going to be able to share at the conference?
Well, a lot of I think what I'm going to do this time is I'd like to kind of go into the creative inspiration with some of my own creations that I've created, some of my art images on the energies. And I would like to actually share some of the backstory of there's some of my images that I've actually never shared some of this before. So I'd like to actually talk about some of the stories that have come about, how that came about. And some of them are extremely profound and can be helpful for everybody else as well. So I'd like to actually do some of that, as well as probably doing a light language activation as well, because I like to do that. And people know me generally for doing that on, presenting. But this time I just wanted to bring a little bit of different flavor to it, where because some of these stories are, people can really relate to them. My art is very activational, obviously, in the background, and all of the people that have seen my art, it's not just pretty pictures. They actually do carry vibration and energy and frequency. So I do like to bring that through, but there are some very, very powerful stories that I'd like to share. And so that's kind of what I want to focus the energy on at the conference, and whatever else comes, right?
Awesome. No, I know it's just such a pleasure, having you not only at our conference, but just all these years. I just want you to know that I greatly appreciate our friendship and, all the stuff that we do together upstairs, let's just say, and all the management, a lot of management going on.
Yes,
This golden age, there's a lot of things trying to slow this golden age down. This thing is a bullet train straight from God. And our creator. And all I can say is to all my friends and family, is hang in there. It's going to get better. It's a bumpy ride right now, as we can see some of the events that have taken place. But the truth is, we will get through this together.
So that's the energy that I want to bring to the conference, is just the inspiration, creative inspiration, and also sharing some of the backstories, which will help you guys also and activate you in different ways as well. So that's kind of what I want to bring, plus the light language activation as well.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Every time you're on stage, it's always just like, whoa, you always share so much information and different. And it's basically just a different way to look at the same gift. You have a very special way of how you explain it. And I think you resonate with a lot of people out there that,
Yeah, I like to, I mean, my thing is activating with color, sound, light, and vibration in many different ways, whether that's light language, art, energies and activation, music, because I'm doing music now. So I'll have
Right.
some of my music in the background as well when I'm talking. So it's all that's what I'm here for. I guess that's what I've, come into my gift is to
Right.
activate people in those ways.
Right.
So super fun. I
So
love the
how can people get a hold of you, Lightstar?
So yes, lightstarcreations.com is my main website. That's where you can find everything. You can go to
Nice.
the shop page or shop all, and that has like all the different categories of all the artwork, my private sessions, my
Right.
music, digital assets, and apparel, frequency wear is what I call it. So all those things
Woo,
are
get
there.
that
Yeah,
swag. Get that swag
frequency
on. You know what I
wear,
mean?
I call it. So I've got all that stuff available, and then obviously I have a YouTube channel, which you can go just to search under Lightstar, or my contact page has all of my different social media sites on there, and I have a
Right.
lot of activation I do for people on my YouTube channel as well. So, and looking forward to seeing all of your happy, smiling faces at the conference, you guys.
Yes, I'm so excited, dude. I can't wait to get just everyone in the same room and be like, oh, there's something about it. I'm really excited. And
Yeah.
listen, here's the truth. Like the bass drop thing in Austin, Texas, the Austin event
Mhm.
and the bass drop event where, the solar eclipse was happening, right? And it was
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, as
Oh,
we're flying in there, the National Guard's going into Texas. It was crazy, right?
yeah.
I feel this event has the same type of energy in the sense of like it's going to be crazy to get there, but you're going to be rewarded. You know what I mean? Like, and March 29th is, I think, a slight solar eclipse as well. There's a
Oh,
slight
wow.
eclipse
Yeah, yeah.
on.
We're in an
I
eclipse.
didn't even know that
Yeah.
when I booked it. My higher self's like that date, select
That's
this, and I'm
awesome.
sitting there like, okay,
Yeah.
So there's something about Team Light, the golden team. There's something about representing the light. There's something about representing when great changes take place. All
Mhm.
of our family is called together, and we all raise the vibration
Yeah,
together.
and it's really important for you guys to be there. It's something you have to experience in person. I mean, all these things online are great, but like when you're actually in person at these events, it's actually
Mhm.
really, really powerful because we all really resonate as a one big giant family, even
Yes,
at these events. And it is like a reunion, a lot of it. So you're
yes.
connecting with people, you'll be meeting new people, you'll be sharing,
Dancing,
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 doing
right?
all and listening to the presenters, but I think a lot of you guys always talk about this. I hear this all the time. Like, I don't find people that I resonate with that are on my wavelength or whatever. I'm like, well, now's your chance, right?
Right.
This is your chance to get with the people that are on your wavelength, or even if they're not, but you can meet all the new people. So there's no excuses, right? And you're going to be in
No,
Sedona, which is going to be like, oh my God, who doesn't want to come to Sedona, right? It's a
no.
great time,
It's the
springtime. It's
it's
like,
the most beautiful time to be in Sedona.
yeah, besides fall, which is awesome too. But like the spring is, yeah, a new life, new energy, and everyone just loves being here in the spring. So make your reservations early,
Yes,
for sure. And,
absolutely.
and we are looking forward to seeing you guys there.
100%. With that, ladies and gentlemen, you guys enjoy your week. Till next time. Peace.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do